Boy, Cliff Stearns, that's a tough act to follow. I'm going to tell everyone that Cliff Stearns is a Florida Republican who voted against the bill. He joins me now from Washington. Listen, you heard Mr. Field. Did he change how you feel about it? If you had heard, if he had spoken on the floor, if you had heard his story, might you have changed the way you voted?
Don, I would not have. First of all, let me say this has nothing to do with ideology. This is a bill that I'll explain here shortly. Is a bill that really is not a sound bill and is another entitlement. It goes for 21 years. Did you know that? It goes for 21 years. It's $7.5 billion, but it could be added on with more money. Now, all of us, either party, both parties, agree that we should reimburse and help the people who have health problems because of 9/11. That's no doubt about it. But there's no better source on whether we should pass this bill than Kenneth Feinberg. Kenneth Feinberg, of course, was the gentleman who's in charge of the 9/11 Commission that dispersed the funds for health care for the 9/11 victims. He testified that this bill should be a 5-year reauthorization bill that sunsets and look at it in 5 years.
Okay.
The Democrats have made this 21 years, and the GAO has said it's an entitlement. It's not me.
All right, Congressman, let me get in here and talk, because listen, I know you said $7.4 billion. The Congresswoman said that's a small price to pay, and she called them 9/11 veterans, 9/11 heroes. You know, I didn't rescue anyone in 9/11. I can't imagine what it was like. But if we're spending all this money on wars and on bailouts and all these other things, the people who ran towards those buildings instead of running away, how do you put a price on that? How do you put a time limit on that?
It's nothing to do with putting a timeline or a price on it. The question is, when you look at the bill, it's set up so that people can come in and say that they have health care problems and they don't have to prove it. So there's a possibility of a huge amount of.
So you're not saying that the bill shouldn't be passed. You're not saying that these people shouldn't be helped. You're saying that you think that there should be some sort of time limit, and I think you said what you're saying to me is that you believe the Democrats sort of rushed this through, and you need to look at it more before you sign off on it. Is that correct?
Sure. Now, Don, let me talk to you about some of the details of this bill. It reimbursed hospitals in New York City at 140% of Medicare. Now, we just cut Medicare for hospitals here in Congress this year, as well as the DRG's reimbursement for all the doctors across this country. So yet we're going to take New York City hospitals and pay them 140%. Also in the bill, Don, it says that when a person gets reimbursed, 25% of that goes for legal fees to attorneys. And the other important thing about this bill is, you know, if a person is making $1 million or $2 million a year, they can still come in and say, you know, I'm having trouble breathing. I think we have to set it up like Kenneth Feinberg did when he did the 9/11
I need you to make your point, because we're running out of time, sir. Sorry about that.
Okay, but remember, Kenneth Feinberg has said that this should not be put together as it is. And Carol Mahoney should also read Feinberg's testimony at the judiciary, which points out that this should be not an entitlement, but a 5-year reauthorization. So we all agree we want to help these people. We just want to do it the right way.
All right. Cliff Stearns, representative from Florida, Republican representative from Florida. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Don.
All right. You know, we want to hear what you have to say about this, as well as other stories here that we have on the list today. We're going to go to the Twitter boards next.